Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Bahasham, Barakah Kodash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well, and peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and in this video, I'll be profiling a little bit of this article from dailymail.co.uk titled, How Modern Humans Have Become Weaklings Compared with Our Ancient Ancestors Who Could Outrun and Outlift Today's Top Athletes. Human leg bones have grown weaker since farming was invented. Scientists found bone structure declined after agriculture emerged. Male farmers 7,300 years ago had legs of cross-country runners, but just 3,000 years later, they had legs comparable to sedentary students. And this article was published back on April 28th of 2014. Mo Farah would have had some tough competition from ancient farmers living 7,300 years ago. Scientists claim if they were to cross paths, our ancestors would have been capable of outrunning some of the world's most talented athletes. That's according to recent research by Cambridge University, which reveals just how far our fitness has fallen in just a couple of millennia. Bone mass was found to be around 20% higher in the foragers, the equivalent to what an average person would lose after 3 months of weightlessness in space. Pictured is an early Neolithic, 35 to 40-year-old male used to illustrate ancient skeletons, approximately 4,000 to 5,000 BC. And with the dates used in these articles, always take it with a grain of salt. Here's an image of the skeleton. As you can see, it was quite large. But I'm going to jump down to this part right here. Our bodies and brains are shrinking, but is farming to blame? An earlier study by Cambridge University found that mankind is shrinking in size significantly. Experts say humans are past their peak and that modern-day people are 10% smaller and shorter than their hunter-gatherer ancestors. And if that's not depressing enough, our brains are also smaller. The findings reverse perceived wisdom that humans have grown taller and larger, a belief which has grown from data on more recent physical development. That's it with this article. That's the point I wanted to hit. And remember that this article was written back in 2014, so fairly recently, but the scriptures written thousands of years ago already prophesied that people would be of less stature than their ancestors. This is 2 Esdras chapter 5. I'm going to read verse 51 to 55. He answered me and said, Ask a woman that beareth children, and she shall tell thee. Say unto her, Wherefore art unto they whom now is now brought forth, like those that were before, but less of stature? And she shall answer thee, They that be born in the strength of youth are of one fashion, and they that be born in the time of age, when the womb faileth, are otherwise. So they that were born of an earlier age were of a different strength, while they born of a later age are of a different, lesser strength. And the main points in verse 54, Consider thou therefore also how that ye are less of stature than those that were before you. Experts say humans are past their peak and that modern day people are 10% smaller and shorter than their hunter-gatherer ancestors. The findings reverse perceived wisdom that humans have grown taller and larger, a belief which has grown from data on more recent physical development. Consider thou therefore also how that ye are of less of stature than those that were before you. And Esdras was written well over 1,000 years ago. So if we're smaller than Esdras, imagine how much smaller Esdras was at that time than his own forefathers. Hey, people and nature in general has just been growing weaker with each successive age, and we're at the lowest humanity and this planet has ever been in these current times. And so are they that come after you less than ye, as the creatures which now begin to be of old, and have passed over the strength of youth. And hey, this is just another clear example of how the scriptures have always had it 100% right. These so-called scientists coming out with new so-called true findings are just catching up to the Bible. And even then, when compared to the Bible, they're still going off. This is Isaiah 34, verse 16. Seek ye out of the book of Yahweh, the scriptures, what the majority of you people know as the Bible and the Apocrypha today, and read. No one of these shall fail, none shall want her mate. For my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them. No one of these shall fail. The prophecies stated to happen in these scriptures, which will all come to pass if they haven't taken place already, and none shall want her mate. There is no other book, test, or study out there that compares to the scriptures. The only thing these other documents do is show that through the few things they do get right, that the scriptures had it right all along. And now I'm get into a few other examples in the scriptures to show that people are of less stature than they were than their forefathers, and also how even nature itself is giving less of its strength than it did in the past. This is 1 Chronicles chapter 20. I'm going to read verse 1 to 2. And it came to pass that after the year was expired, at the time the kings go out to battle, Joab left forth the power of the army and wasted the country of the children of Ammon, who are the so-called Japanese today, and came and besieged Rabbah. But David tarried at Jerusalem, and Joab smote Rabbah and destroyed it. And King David lived before Esdras, so even King David was of a different strength than Esdras was. And David took the crown of their king from off his head, the king of Ammon, and found it to weigh a talent of gold, and there were precious stones in it. And it was set upon David's head, and he brought also exceeding much spoil out of the city. And when we go to learnreligions.com on an article titled, How Heavy Was a Talent in the Bible, you'll see that a talent of gold was no little weight back then. A talent weight was an ancient measuring unit for gold and silver. How heavy was a talent? The talent was the heaviest or largest biblical unit of measurement for weight, equal to about 75 pounds or 35 kilograms. Now imagine the opulence of this enemy king's crown when it was placed on David's head. David took the crown from their king's head, and it was placed on his own head. It weighed a talent of gold, around 75 pounds, and it was set with precious stones. So imagine how much neck strength you would have needed to have had to wear a crown that was 75 pounds. Just a clear example that people today are much weaker than those of the past, of less stature. And now I'm going to go to Numbers chapter 13. I'm going to start at verse 17. And Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan, and said unto them, Get ye up this way southward, and go up into the mountain, and see the land, what it is, and the people that dwelleth therein, whether they be strong or weak, few or many, and what the land is that they dwell in, whether it be good or bad, and what cities they be that they dwell in, whether in tents or in strongholds, and what the land is, whether it be fat or lean, whether there be wood therein or not, and be ye of good courage, and bring of the fruit of the land. Now the time was the time of the first ripe grapes. So they went up and searched the land from the wilderness of Zin unto Rahab, as men come to Hamath. And they ascended by the south, and came unto Hebron, where Ammon, Sheshai, and Talmai, the children of Anak, were. Now Hebron was built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. And listen to what it says in verse 23. And they came unto the brook of Eshcol, and cut down from thence a branch with one cluster of grapes, and they bare it between two upon a staff, and they brought of the pomegranates and of the figs. Hey, it needed 2 people to bear that one cluster of the grapes, showing that even back then the earth was yielding more nutrients and strength than it is today. And I've actually seen a model of these two Israelites carrying that cluster of the grapes. And it is, as it said, two men had a pole with that cluster hanging from it, and those grapes were about the size of basketballs, something you've never seen in your life. The place was called the Brook of Eshcol because of the cluster of grapes which the children of Israel cut down from thence. The spies report, and they returned from searching of the land after 40 days, and they went and came to Moses and to Aaron and to all the congregation of the children of Israel unto the wilderness of Paran to Kadesh, and brought back word unto them and unto all the congregation, and shewed them the fruit of the land. And they told him and said, We came unto the land whither thou sentest us, and surely it floweth with milk and honey, and this is the fruit of it. Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. The Amalekites dwell in the land of the south, and the Hittites, and the Jebusites, and the Amorites dwell in the mountains, and the Canaanites dwell by the sea and by the coast of Jordan. And Caleb stilled the people before Moses and said, Let us go up at once and possess it, for we are well able to overcome it. But the men that went up with him said, We be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. And they brought up an evil report of the land, which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, The land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof, and all the people that we saw in it are men of a great stature. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. And I've heard wacky-tacky Christians break down Numbers 13 verses 33 as the sons of Anak actually being the sons of the fallen angels, or the Nephilim. Just complete madness. The fallen angels is just mythology, Saturday morning cartoon nonsense. The Nephilim were simply the Israelites in the past that fell off from their power and started following after the other nations and their ways, much of what you're seeing today. The sons of Anak were Hamites, or so-called Africans, and them being giants were simply them being a people of large stature back then. And even now today, you've got a people in South Sudan who are Hamites called the Dinka people, who are of a large stature. Here's a video from Drew Binsky's YouTube channel titled Tallest Humans on Earth, South Sudan. And remember that they that are of today are of less stature than their forefathers, so these Hamites in the past would have been much taller than this, just as everybody else would have been.
Until today, I always thought that the world's tallest people were in Holland and Latvia. And then I came to the country of South Sudan, and I can't even touch the top of their heads.
South Sudan, as you can see, is a land of the tall and dark. That's the first thing you're gonna see when you first come to South Sudan, and I love it. I love my height, and being here makes me love it and makes me embrace who I am and how tall I am.
So your friends and family the same height as you, the girls?
I'm actually short, believe me, but my brothers are way taller than me.
Okay, so just for reference, you're filming. She's the shortest one, and look at this. Like, you're like 5 inches taller than me. I'm the tallest one in my family.
No!
Yeah. The majority of the country's 13 million people belong to the Dinka tribe, who inhabit the banks of the Nile and have some of the most stunning physical features you'll ever see. They're extremely slim and tall, almost all of them, with both men and women averaging well over 6 feet tall. I feel like I'm an NBA locker room right now. My neck hurts from looking up at the sky all day long. I'm 5'7", so you're almost 2 feet taller than me.
Yeah, I'm 225 centimeters.
225 centimeters tall? What's it like being so tall?
Well, it's advantageous, especially when there's a crowd. You don't bother.
Awesome. And how old are you guys?
Yeah, I'm
20?
Yeah, I'm 19.
What is it like being so tall? I mean,
They're very happy to be tall.
they're happy to...
And the average person is around 6 feet tall. So imagine in the past how much of a greater stature their forefathers were. So that's it with this video, and just another video proving the continual validity and truth of the Bible. So with this video, I hope you sincere Akim are edified. Just keep strong and keep pushing this word. We're almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.